coffee in the big time.
That's right, cup of coffee in the big time with Cuz, yeah. Cup of coffee in the big time, yeah. Yeah. Drinking my coffee like my video game consoles, yeah, strong and black. That's why I got an Xbox Series X, not a PlayStation 5, yeah. Welcome to Cup of Coffee in the Big Time, episode 2. Recording this on June 9th. It is a Wednesday morning, and I will be releasing this tomorrow, June 10th, in the morning, so you can enjoy this episode of Cup of Coffee in the Big Time, yeah, with your cup of coffee in the morning. Gonna cover a couple topics today. Got to follow up since last week we did the inception of where Cup of Coffee in the Big Time came from. I think it's only fitting to follow up with another promo. What do people normally have with their cup of coffee? What do they put in their cup of coffee if they don't like to drink it straight black? They put cream. That's right, because the cream rises to the top. Especially when you're the cream of the crop. Yeah. So this will be, I think, the format going forward. I think we'll always open up with a promo in the beginning, and then we'll do a topic and another topic. Maybe 3 topics tops. A cup of coffee in the big time, yeah. So that's what we're going to talk. That's what we're going to open up the show with. So grab your cup of coffee if you haven't, or take that first sip. Yeah. And let's get started with Cup of Coffee in the Big Time episode 2, yeah. Now, the Cup of Coffee in the Big Time is a very, very famous promo from Macho Man Randy Savage. But you know what? Macho Man has a treasure chest full of great promos, of great gems, if you will. Now, on Primetime Wrestling, May 11th, 1987, Macho Man follows up. It's almost like Macho Man purposely followed up with the creamer. I just laugh just because I'm thinking of it right now. And, we already know what we're going to see because I'm going to play that video for you. But it was almost like Macho Man was like, yeah, well, I did the cup of coffee, yeah. I remember seeing that little cart of, little box of creamers over there too. You know what? I'm going with that next, yeah. Like Macho Man knew. And Macho Man is just so good at, on the fly, Macho Man can just create any promo. And if there's a wrestling school out there, where they're obviously there are wrestling schools out there that train you on how to cut promos, but if they're showing videos, any of Macho Man's better be like the main piece of footage that they're going to show for learning materials on how to cut promos, because Macho Man was just, he was the best. And he even ends this video by, letting you know how he felt and speaking the truth. So yes, this promo was cut on Primetime Wrestling on May 11th, 1987. This was after Macho Man had already lost the Intercontinental Championship, yeah, at WrestleMania 3 to Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, And he cuts a great promo. He follows up his cup of coffee in the Big Time promo with, like I said, what goes better with coffee? Creamer. It's almost like Macho Man was just doing part 2 of his cup of coffee in the Big Time promo with this. The cream always rises to the top, which Macho Man does in this excellent promo. And he even begins to talk about the Intercontinental title must fall. But not only the Intercontinental, he even starts to allude to going after the WWF title must fall. Yeah. So let's, you know what? I'm going to play this video for you guys. I think it's time. That we stop clicking around and we just, we play the video for you. So let's get that cup of coffee in the big time. Yeah. Let's get that cup of coffee in the big time. Yeah. I'm going to play this for you guys right now. Let's watch the genius in action.
It's a day that I'm certain my guest at
not Lenny Poffo.
Forget. I'm talking about the former Intercontinental Champion of the world, Macho Man Randy Savage.
Means nothing.
Nothing.
Ooh.
Nothing means nothing. What do you mean by that?
I'm talking about all the way to the top, yeah. Unjustifiably in a position I'd rather not be in, but the cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
Doesn't work anymore since I don't have the beard.
Got more to offer than President Jack Tunney.
He's like a magician here.
Yeah, I know.
He's pulling creamers out of nowhere.
Now, cards stacked against the Macho Man Randy.
Oh, they are.
WrestleMania 3. Hey, let me say it.
Okay.
Let me say it out loud.
All right.
And let me point
Whoa.
to the president.
Look at that. Intensity.
Federation.
He switches back and forth between intensity and then just going back to being humorous.
Yeah.
There you go.
I am the cream in the World Wrestling Federation.
Wait a minute,
And there is no doubt.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, you mean Gene Okerlund. You know that I'm the cream of the crop.
He is. Can't deny it.
So, Randy, I've got to ask you very seriously. Do you blame Mr. Jack Tunney,
I do.
distinguished president of the World Wrestling
I actually do.
Federation,
I blame Jack
for
Tunney.
Steamboat being the Intercontinental Champion today?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Outside interference. Yeah. In my
Yeah.
moment of glory. Yeah, now I'm living in a nightmare. And I am the cream. And now, not only the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship belt must fall, but the World Heavyweight Championship belt. Because Hulk Hogan.
Oh, yeah.
I am the cream, yeah. The cream of the crop. And there is no one that does it better than
I love this.
Macho Man Randy Savage. Off balance doesn't matter.
I love that. On balance, off balance.
Everyone in the World Wrestling Federation.
Because the creamer fell off his head.
Even talking to President Jack Tunney, yeah. I'm on my way. And nothing is gonna stop me. Nothing's gonna stop me.
You know, just out of curiosity, Randy and I
I like how he just naturally flows with that. He puts the creamer on his head, he's balancing it, and then it falls off. On balance, off balance.
She's on the outside.
And he naturally flows into his promo.
In matches, yeah.
Yeah, she does.
Zero, yeah. Pure athlete, yeah. And I've been, maligned from the top to the bottom. And because they can't handle the Macho Man Randy Savage.
Why?
The cream of the crop. Nobody does it better.
Truer words have never been spoken there. Nobody does it better. And that is the truth. Especially at that time. You gotta admit, no one did it better. Promos, the total package. Hulk Hogan did great promos, of course. I guess it depends on your taste of promos, on if you think the over the top, what you gonna do, brother, with these 24-inch python? If it depends on your style of promos. And Macho Man, he was over the top, but I don't know, he just so naturally gifted in the way he can put promos together. It's like he's always just cutting them on the fly. He probably thinks about them backstage before he goes on camera. I'm sure he's walking back and forth, pacing, coming up with things to say or to include in his promo, like cup of coffee, creamers, all that stuff. But man, no one did it better. Macho Man was the best. Macho Man was the best. And like I said, truer words have never been spoken. Nobody does it better. But yeah, just even that, like with the whole balancing the creamer on his head and it falls off, and he mixes that into the promo, saying on balance, off balance. It just he just naturally goes with the flow to fit in his promo on the fly. Like it's crazy. Macho Man's the best. Macho Man is the best, and he will always be one of the best for sure. Well, that's the promo of the morning here, and the next topic that I would like to cover here is actually something that took place about 22 years ago. And that thing I'm talking about right now is actually, let me bring the image up. That's right. It was me, Austin. It was me all along. So already by looking at the picture and me quoting that, I'm sure a lot of you know what I'm referring to. This was the infamous higher power program with the ministry, the corporation, and the Ministry of Darkness, two separate factions that joined together that were actually feuding with each other. But this happened June 7th, 1999. And this was on a Monday Night Raw, by the way. And basically, so this whole storyline, it built up to this, but basically throughout 1999, Undertaker and the Ministry of Darkness, that was Undertaker's group, were feuding with, WWF owner, Mr. McMahon, trying to gain control of the Federation. And I'm sure a lot of you remember all the infamous promo or scenes with like Undertaker trying to go after Stephanie, trying to kidnap her. And then, Vince started to slowly like, oh, screw the corporation. Not that he said screw the corporation, but, he was the leader of the corporation. And then it was obvious he was distracted because the Ministry of Darkness, they were coming after Stephanie and they were trying to kidnap her. And then because of Vince being distracted, Shane McMahon said, you know what, Pops, you got to go. You're not in the corporation anymore. You, Pat Patterson and Briscoe, you're out. And basically Shane was saying like, you're not the man that you were before. You're not the man with the grapefruits, the genetic jackhammer. Yeah. Shane was saying you lost touch of that. You lost sight of that. So he kicked him out. And so all that was going on in 1999. That was around April. And heading into WrestleMania 15, Vince McMahon started his feud with Stone Cold Steve Austin for the entire year there. And by that time, the corporation, they were all involved in the feud. The Rock was Vince McMahon's, champion, his counter to Stone Cold Steve Austin. And at Backlash that year, that's when actually the Ministry of Darkness kidnapped Stephanie. And Undertaker, tried to marry her, sacrifice her. Remember when, he had her kidnapped and sacrificed her and the whole cross with Stone Cold Steve Austin on the cross and everything. But Stone Cold ruined that little wedding ceremony. Even the Union, partook in all that. They, Ken Shamrock and Big Show tried to rescue Stephanie McMahon. So that's when Stone Cold had to come in to save the day. The corporation actually wanted to help Stephanie, but that's when Shane's like, no, it's a trap. It's a trap. And on the very first episode of SmackDown, yes, right, the pilot episode of SmackDown, April 27th, that's when The Undertaker merged the Ministry of Darkness with the corporation to form the Corporate Ministry. All of a sudden, these two groups that were feuding with each other, they forgot about it. And one of the reasons they did that was because they looked at Stone Cold Steve Austin as their common enemy, common foe. So we're going to join together. We're going to join together and we're going to stop Stone Cold Steve Austin, and I will marry Stephanie, not Triple H. So during all that, when that all started to happen, Undertaker started talking about this higher power. I worship a higher power. He is in a robe, and he will reveal himself to the world. I don't know if that was exact quotes, but basically, Undertaker, started talking about the higher power. He decided to offer it to Austin, offer this greater power to Austin. Basically wanted to reveal himself to Austin. And on June 7th, Monday Night Raw, 1999, it is time for that video. And this video, it brings back memories, man. Like, I loved it. Just the reveal, because, and you're gonna hear Jim Ross's response to it. You're gonna hear the way Jim Ross reacts to it, and it's gonna be great because his reaction was basically how I'm sure everybody felt. Everybody felt. I don't know if you were let down or if it was one of those like, of course it was gonna be this guy. Of course it was gonna be Vince. I remember thinking as a kid when, because I used to watch WWF, WCW, both Monday night shows religiously when I was a kid. And I'll drink a cup of coffee, yeah. And I remember thinking, like, hoping it was someone jumping ship from WCW. Someone high up or, a big star coming from, basically a big star coming from outside of the WWE to come to the WWE, the WWF at the time. So I think a lot of people were expecting something like that. And Jim Ross's reactions, that was all of our sentiments. And, I'm going to play that video for you guys right now. So let's get into this.
Here we go.
Oh,
Who could it be?
Jim Ross, you can tell he was so disappointed.
It's me, Austin!
Oh, son of a bitch.
You're a son of a bitch. Oh, shoot.
Damn, I cannot believe it.
He tricked us there, bud.
You all bought it!
We did.
You all bought it!
We all thought someone else.
Line and sinker! You all bought it!
Jerry Lawler, like, you didn't buy it either. They did.
Immediate family bought it. What a shame.
They sh-
Every damn one of you were made fools of. You're a fool, JR.
Jerry Lawler's. Listen to that crowd, man. What is that crowd, man? Come on. Well, they bought them all.
Stone Cold Steve Austin made me fool you. He made me because Austin
Trying to make Stone Cold the heel.
teach you a lesson that you would never
Forget.
forget. And now, Austin, now you know there is no price I will not pay. There is no depth that I will not stoop to make your life here on earth, Austin, a total, complete, living hell.
Let's get that stupid ad out of there before we freaking get busted for that one. Don't worry, I'll block that out. So, yeah, that's the infamous promo there of Vince McMahon. It was me, Austin. And that happened 22 fucking years ago. I can't believe that. 22 years ago. 22 years ago. How is that? I don't even understand that. I don't get that. How that much time has already passed by. It makes me sad. Makes me feel old. I am old, kind of. Not really. Age is just a number. Remember that. But yeah, so that was the infamous "It Was Me, Austin" higher power reveal promo of Vince McMahon, and the whole entire thing, the whole like Vince pretending to be aligned with Austin and feuding with the corporate ministry and everything. That was all just to get revenge on Stone Cold. Everything was just revenge on Stone Cold. Which then Linda and Stephanie, because Linda was also involved in that at some point. She was a victim of the whole, corporation ministry, all that happening. And that's when she steps down as CEO of the company, and she's named Stone Cold Steve Austin as her successor, her replacement for that. And they were, both Linda and Stephanie started signing their shares over to Austin to further, the storyline. And he's, that's just how it all, there's more into it. We'd have to like do a whole segment on that whole like feud and everything, but that's basically what happens. That's basically, after the reveal and finding out that McMahon, that's how insane he's gone, like in kayfabe, in story mode, from the context of storyline. That's how insane and how obsessive the Vince McMahon character was feuding with Stone Cold Steve Austin. He went to that level. He stooped to that low, plotting the kidnapping of Stephanie and making all this drama and all this feuding between the two factions and then joining them together just so he can get revenge on Stone Cold Steve Austin. Vince McMahon is the greatest heel of all time in all wrestling. I wish you could say we could debate that, because then we can say, name a wrestler that was the greatest heel of all time. But it's Vince. Vince is the greatest heel of all time. It's not even an opinion. I think it's fact. So those were the two segments. Now, I do want to touch base a little bit on something here, because we do like to talk about nostalgia and things that bring back that feeling of nostalgia. Speaking of nostalgia, In Your House. Anytime I think of In Your House, I think of my childhood. Just like I don't even need to say that anymore. Anything that we think of wrestling, Attitude Era, before Attitude Era, that's probably everyone's childhood. So, but you got those certain images, the sounds, the smells that bring back nostalgia. And when I see the In Your House logo, that brings back a lot of nostalgia for me. And I cherish it. I love it. And this Sunday, we have a chance to intertwine nostalgia with the modern day, the modern time of In Your House, NXT. This Sunday, June 13th, we're going to have the second In Your House under the NXT banner. And it's going to be, they're going to have it at the Capitol Wrestling Center. And it's actually going to be the 35th NXT Takeover event the 29th In Your House event. And it'll be obviously it's going to be the second one under NXT, but this is going to be the first In Your House pay-per-view since Valentine's Day Massacre. So that's a cool little bit of history there as far as the history of In Your House goes. And I'm looking forward to this card, man. This card is going to be awesome. I think so. I think it's going to be awesome. And we'll start with the card. Let's do a brief rundown of the matches here. So first match, well, we don't know what order these matches are going to be in, but as far as the card has it listed, we have Bronson Reed, North American Champion, with MSK, who I really like this tag team a lot. They're going to be facing Legado del Fantasma, Santos Escobar, Joaquin Wilde, and Raul Mendoza. And it's going to be a winner-takes-all 6-man tag team match. The NXT North American title and the NXT Tag Team Champions, which are held by Bronson Reed and MSK, respectively. Then you have Raquel Gonzalez, and she will be taking on Ember Moon for the NXT Women's Championship. I don't see Ember Moon winning that. I think Raquel needs to... I think they're going to establish her as a long-reigning, dominating champion. She's perfect for that. In a grudge match, you have Mercedes Martinez versus Xia Li. Xia Li. I like Xia Li a lot. Mercedes Martinez, I know she's really good, and I know she has an MMA background. So I was gonna think, I was almost thinking, because I saw clips of it I saw highlights from NXT this past Tuesday. I forgot it's on Tuesday, yesterday. And I was watching the highlights, and they showed Mercedes Martinez. She was coming out to wrestle. Xia attacked her from behind, and they had a little back and forth. And then I started kind of remembering, like, oh yeah, Mercedes has a MMA background, and Xia is a great striker. She also has a martial arts background. So actually, I started thinking, I was like that, because at first I was like, storyline wise, I'm not really interested. But as far as the match goes, I'm sure it's going to be a hard hitting match. I'm sure it's going to be a slobber knocker, as GR would like to say. So that might actually be a fun, exciting match. Probably Xaya's going to win that one, I'm guessing. Also, I guess I should do my predictions. Well, I kind of did already. I said Raquel's going to, I think she's going to retain. I think Xia will win this match. I think Bronson Reed and MSK will win their match. Bronson just got the North American title, and MSK just won it at the last Takeover, WrestleMania weekend, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, which I think that was when they won it. Excellent showing by MSK. Those guys are exciting to watch. They gave me that feeling back in the day when I was watching the Hardy Boys come up. And when you saw that their matches, you're always excited to see their matches. You're always wondering what they're going to do next. And MSK, they give me that feeling again. That's why I love NXT. NXT just does it so much better. In the ladder match for the $1 Million Championship, Cameron Grimes versus LA Knight. Now, this match I am really looking forward to. Ladder match, what else you need to say? Two very talented wrestlers. Cameron Grimes, his gimmick, I'm starting to feel a little more. I didn't really care for it at first, but he's really committed to that character, and he does a great job with that character and getting the points across, getting the character across to the crowd. I mean, the crowd's behind him. They always chant his "To the Moon" with him. So, and LA Knight, man, I always felt like even when he was first in NXT, he started sounding like The Rock. So I hope it doesn't become that thing where it's like you're trying too much to be like The Rock. But his swagger, the way he talks, the mannerisms, it reminds me of The Rock a lot, which could be a good thing. But LA Knight and Cameron Grimes, I'm sure that's going to be a great match. And God damn it, NXT, WWE, Triple H, you better have a feud with LA Knight and Dexter Lumis, because that right there screams, now it's not going to be similar. That screams The Rock and Stone Cold, that type of chemistry as far as characters go. So I really hope they can do that. I hope they can pull off a great feud with that. I don't see Dexter Lumis on the card, but Johnny Gargano is fighting in the main event. So he has kind of been feuding with The Way, Johnny Gargano's faction. So the main event, the fatal five-way for the NXT Championship. You have Karrion Kross, who is the champion, versus Kyle O'Reilly, versus Adam Cole, versus Johnny Gargano, and Pete Dunne. I don't see Finn Balor on here, and That's actually kind of surprising. I know he just lost his second match against Karrion Kross for the NXT Championship. His rematch he lost, so I'm pretty sure it has something to do with that. I actually didn't watch most of this week's or last week's, other than the highlights from the Finn Balor and Karrion Kross match. I just haven't had time to watch wrestling on a weekly basis. I just can't keep up. Can't keep up. Sorry, guys. That's life for you. And what else is sad about life is when you finish your cup of coffee, that means the show is over, ladies and gentlemen. That means the show is over. Yeah. So that'll do it for this week's episode of Cup of Coffee in the Big Time. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments if there's anything you would like covered on Cup of Coffee in the Big Time. We're going to do it. This is the format we're going to use now. We're going to always open up with a promo. We'll open up with the promo. And then we'll do something like maybe a segment or a match. And then the third one could be something random like covering the NXT card. Maybe we'll cover other wrestling organizations, other promotions that are having pay-per-views coming up, just to give a rundown of the card or something. The third topic can be random. And then I'm even thinking about doing a little bonus content for the YouTube side of things where we look at funny pictures in wrestling or what kind of funny pictures are out there related to wrestling. There's a lot of those out there. So I think we can do maybe bonus segment on YouTube because obviously we want to work out on the audio version because you want to be able to see the pictures. So, but with that being said, as always, as Dave would say, you can find us on YouTube at Our Wrestling Podcast. It's not Our Wrestling Channel. We haven't had it. We've had it as Our Wrestling Podcast for a long time. So I don't know what Dave's talking about, but Our Wrestling Podcast on YouTube. Subscribe. Hit the bell to stay notified for new episodes, especially now if we're going to be doing more content like this. If you want to be notified whenever a random episode of Cup of Coffee comes out or Unscripted or whatever it may be, you'll be notified. You click that bell. And then if you want to listen to the audio versions of our podcast, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and iHeart Radio. This has been Cuz with a cup of coffee in the big time. Yeah, episode 2. Yeah. Hope you guys enjoy your day.